The CIS was a means to an end for the Sith. They would create a crisis to distract the galaxy while Sidious expanded his power base. But that doesn't mean that the CIS didn't have a strategy to win the war. But what was it, and how did the Separatists plan to bring victory over their foe? Now, as I'll discuss on tomorrow's video, despite popular belief, the CIS wasn't actually very prepared for the war. For this reason, at the beginning of the war, their strategy had to be based more on conservation. They were very defensive during its early days, as they needed to establish a framework for their government. They were just beginning to secure their holdings as many worlds chose to join the CIS all at once, and therefore the Separatists needed to begin establishing itself in its own territory before it could start attacking the Republic. Whilst this was happening, the Separatists also began huge industrial projects to expand its military. Now, the CIS's tactic to win the war was based around something that separated them greatly to the Republic, and that was centralisation. You see, governments such as the Republic are very centralised, with a capital world, in this case being Coruscant, and well-established worlds that they relied on for farming and manufacturing and mining, etc. The downside of this is that it means it's very easy to establish a target based on your strategy. If you want to demoralise the population, start attacking agricultural worlds. Without food, support for the war will soon waver. If you wanted to halt the Republic's advance, cripple the Republic's shipyards and industrial worlds, because without ships they can't move. However, the CIS was very different to this. The CIS was incredibly decentralised. It was made up of random worlds and sectors that didn't want to be part of the Republic, and for this reason, it was scattered all over the galaxy. There wasn't one specific place the Republic could aim for. This is what's referred to as a stateless strategy. It's the idea that without a set capital world like how Coruscant was to the Republic, it makes it almost impossible to defeat the CIS. It's more of a movement than an actual state. Now, this idea wasn't created by the Separatists. It had been used previously in many wars. However, the CIS had developed it for their cause and they used it very well. Essentially, it uses the vast nothingness as space, and focuses on the idea of spreading out assets. For example, Geonosis is a relatively uncharted world, but it housed some of the most colossal droid factories. By not keeping everything together, the Republic had to constantly be on the move, and they didn't have enough assets to fight the CIS on every front it presented itself on. As well as this, it means the CIS always has the upper hand, as it chooses when it wants to engage the Republic. And the CIS made very good use of this as well. Firstly, throughout the war, most CIS victories were ambushes on Republic positions, particularly those that would spread terror across the Republic in hopes to demoralise the opponent. They then began seizing control of key positions throughout space, largely hyperspace routes that would give them an express route straight into the mid-rim and then later the core. Here, they'd be able to seize more worlds and resources. Essentially, the CIS kept the Republic on the defensive. The Republic didn't have enough resources to attack every single CIS stronghold, especially whilst fighting off unpredictable and devastating ambushes and invasions. For this reason, the Republic could only really defend, and they only really had the resources available to strike out when it was absolutely necessary and they were assured victory, for example on prominent droid factories. Ultimately, this stateless strategy worked very well for the CIS and made use of their scattered nature, and it's arguable that they could have won the war if not for the Sith. When you think about it, Grievous did manage to invade Coruscant itself. If it wasn't for Sidious, maybe he could have taken it, maybe he could have won. But what do you think? Could the CIS have won, and was the stateless strategy a good one? Thanks for watching. I do hope that you enjoyed this little lore video. If you did, please remember to like, share and sub, as it's really appreciated and helps the channel grow. Also, don't forget to tick the bell to know when I release new videos, and don't forget to follow me on Twitter at @TheLoreGuy for regular updates. Thanks again for watching. I really do hope that you enjoy these videos, and I'll see you next time.